Welcome, everyone, to Life Beyond 6 Feet. I'm Damien from RKB Paranormal, and this week I'm very excited to have another podcast on the show. This week I have the crew of the Black Cat Report. Guys, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having us.
Hey, thanks for having me on whenever I was on your guys' show back a couple of months ago. And for those that don't know, I'm going to go ahead and let you guys introduce yourself.
I'm Selena.
Yeah. I'm Gil.
And I'm Betsabe.
Alrighty. And there's one more. He couldn't make it on. And
yes.
His name's Joey, correct?
Yes, our fantastic host and incredible producer sadly is stuck at work tonight. But he sends his love and regards and he wishes he could be here.
Work's a pain in the ass, man. I get stuck at work a lot too.
I keep telling everybody, if you go back, they're just going to expect you to go back again. So we should all just stop.
Right.
No one listens.
All right, so I'm just going to jump right in there. So whose initial idea was it to kind of start a podcast?
Gil.
Yeah, that was me. I work from home, I own my own small business and I'm just at my computer all day. And I'm going to tell you 16 to 18 hours of listening to other people's podcasts for a few years. Even if you're not paying attention, you'll learn a bit. And eventually just got to a point, talking about different topics, paranormal things, UFOs, stuff like that with friends, with our friend group that's in the podcast. And we would all just have these like really like lively discussions, and we'd be like super and we'd be cracking each other up and just having a great time. And it's always been one of those things where we can just go on for like hours. And then, you're looking down at your clock and you're like, oh crap, it's like 3 a.m. Also, I didn't know I had a clock, But yeah, and I was just like, man, I'm a workaholic, I'm a researcher by trade, in the work that I do. And I'm like, let's start a podcast. Like, let's get an excuse to hang out a couple hours every week and like promo stuff together. And, if anything, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, we're going to have a bunch of great conversations documented that we can go back and remember, which I really love.
No, really absolutely. I didn't even look at it that way. So
yeah, that's really cute.
And unlike this podcast where we just focus on the paranormal, y'all kind of focus on multiple things: paranormal, UFOs, Bigfoot, stuff like that. So who came up with that idea to just kind of make it about multiple things?
I think that was kind of like all of us just bringing in our own like specific interests and stuff. Like my interest is true crime, so like we did some true crime. Betsabe is into UFOs.
Yeah,
and so is Gil.
And what about the name? Who came up with the name, the Black Cat Report?
That was. Go ahead.
Wasn't it like we had the name already? Like
a few years ago when I was starting my business, about 5 years ago, as like a side project for my business, it's all digital marketing and stuff. I was like, this domain's available. It's perfect. I can do reports for people's marketing, send it to them, and I'm like, it has a strong name, Black Cat. It's literally blackcat.report for the domain name. And so I bought it, got too swamped with work and stuff, but I held on to the domain name. And business partner at the time, who since has moved on to greener pastures besides self-employment, he had done the logo design and put in all this work and stuff. And so when I was thinking about the podcast, and like, what do we call it, this and that and the other, it was like, I literally have like, at least a quarter of the work done for branding already. Got the domain name, got it settled. I've already marked out a branding and all this other stuff with it. So I was like, well, shoot that. And we're all like insane cat people and we love cats. And between Selena and I, we've got two black cats, as well as another sweet little gray cat, Willow. And Betsabe and Joey's got Bon Bon. But we have a large amount of black cats here, and compared to the average family. And so I was like, I'll take it. You know, it's perfect. It's on point. It's a solid name, and it promotes cats. So that's what we did.
And it kind of piques the interest, because unless you already know what the show's about and you're kind of scrolling through and you're like, hey, what is this about? Is it about cats? What is it about? And then when you click on it, I'm like, oh shit, it's about this, and it's about this, and it's about this. So it kind of piques the interest if you don't really know what the show's already about.
Yeah, thank you.
And so, like I said, with this show, we're more focused on the paranormal. So I'm going to go to each one of you. Have any of you had your own personal paranormal experiences?
Yes.
Selena?
I grew up in a like extremely haunted house in California. It was built in the 1930s, and there was like some hauntings that were kind of like mild. Like my mom would be like, "Oh, I want to open the curtains, but I don't want to get up," and she'd say it out loud, and then the curtains would open.
What the fuck?
Yeah. And then like I would have a friend over. Like I would have a friend over, the house would be empty, and then the doorknob to my room would just start rattling. Like it was like being like someone was trying to get in, and my friend was like, "What is that?" And I was like, "Oh, that happens all the time. Just ignore it." Like I was so used to it. But there was a like really bad presence that was there, and we ended up getting the house blessed like 2 or 3 times.
Oh wow.
Yeah, because there was something specifically like targeting me. I would wake up at 3 in the morning and my door would be like wide open to the hallway. And like on the other end of the hallway was my grandparents' room, and that room, as soon as you walk in there, you get bad feelings. But like I would hear stomping, like running up to my door, and then like 3 big bangs, and then running back to the other side of the hallway. And it was just me and my mom, and my mom's room was like on the other side of my room.
Oh man.
So it was just so creepy. And at first she was like, maybe when your grandparents came to visit, your grandpa came and checked on you that night, and that's why your door was open. And I was like, okay. But then they went back to Mexico, and it kept happening. So I had to like lock my door so that it wouldn't be open when I wake up. Like I would just wake up at 3 a.m. every night and it would be open.
Right.
So I started locking it, and then that's when like the banging started happening, the doorknob rattling, like my bed would shake and things like that would happen. It was awful. I ended up staying up until 6 a.m. like most nights just to like try to get past it, and I'd sleep during the day.
Now, did that start before your grandparents came to visit, or while they were there, or did it start after they left?
It happened when they were there. That was the first night that it happened. And then after that, they left, and it just kept happening. And it was happening for like a month. And then my mom was like, I don't really go to church and stuff like that, but my mom was like, maybe this will help. And I was like, okay, I'll take anything at this point, honestly. So we got like her church to come, and they blessed the house, and like nothing happened. It just kind of stopped on its own, like out of nowhere. It was so strange.
Makes me kind of wonder if like something was attached to them and just decided to hang out with you guys when they went back home.
Yeah.
So
I don't know.
You never know.
That room is crazy too, because my sister, she got locked in that closet when she was in that room alone. She went into the closet, and the door behind her slammed shut. She was the only one in the room, and then she was locked in that closet, and I had to get her out.
Oh man, yeah, that would probably make me piss all over myself.
Yeah.
All right.
And then, oh, there's more.
Oh man.
There are also like doppelgangers, like people that look like us,
Right.
like showing up in the house.
Oh,
So like, yeah, it's creepy.
Right?
It started with my grandpa too. Like my sister had gone to her 8th grade like grad night or something like that, so she was gone all night. But that night at like 8 o'clock or so, he goes over into her room, and he's in there for a while, and we were all just kind of like, I wonder what he's doing. He comes out, and we're like, what were you doing in Paulina's room? He's like, oh, I was telling her good night. We were talking and blah, blah, blah. And we're like, she's been gone for hours. And he's like, "What are you talking about? She's in there." And we all went. Room was empty, and he was like, "What the fuck?" And it's happened to my sister, like seeing me. Like one time she was living at that house and she was staying in my grandparents' room, and I was in my room. Well, I was at work, but she comes in and she hears humming coming from my room. So she was like, "Oh, I guess Selena's home. I'm gonna ask her if she wants to eat something." So she goes and she like kind of cracks open the door and she's like, "Selena." And then I like look at her and then just walk right into my closet.
Mm.
And then she was like, "What the hell?" So she goes and she opens the closet and it's like stacked, like completely full. Nobody could go in there. Like there was no way a person could fit in that closet. And she just like stood there freaked out and sat on the steps outside until I got off of work.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that house
Oh.
was evil.
Oh man.
You need to get that address, Damien, and like go
Yeah.
out there with your crew. Like,
Right, right.
It's for sale right now.
I can see why.
Airbnb it.
Yeah.
All right, so B, and I'm gonna call you B because I know I'll fuck up your name. So
Yeah.
What
All good.
what
We all
about
call
you?
it.
Have you had any personal experiences?
I don't know if it was, but this is one that I really remember because it really freaked me out. But back when I lived in California, this is like probably 15 years ago. My boyfriend at the time got this game. I think it's called something Final Frame. That it's about this girl that goes around different towns and takes pictures of ghosts.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were playing this game like every day, like all day for like a whole month. And the game is like really creepy, like really, really creepy. And it just has this music that just like makes you feel like you're in this game and everything around you just disappears. So the more we were playing this game, we started noticing like the volume, it would just go all the way up and then down. Or like the TV would just do something weird, like it would just like stop and then it would turn on back again. And we're like, oh, it's just probably the TV or the game is messing up or something.
Right.
But then it just kept happening more and more, and it was just to the point that even when we stopped playing, like really weird things would happen. Like we would be in our room and then like the door would just like shut and like really loudly, like it's just very aggressive, or the TV would turn on too by itself.
Mm.
So it was just like little things here and then. And again, we were just like, oh, it's just probably the game or whatever, the TV's messing up. But
Right.
when I look back, I'm like, no, that was weird. And it would just make the house just feel really like, I don't know, there was just something, off about it. So we stopped playing and things just went back to normal.
That's really weird.
That is weird.
Yeah, no, I mean, I highly recommend the game, like if you wanna like figure it out. I think it's called Final Frame.
Play
I
this
think.
game if you want shit to happen in your house.
Yeah.
It's more entertaining than a Ouija board.
Yes. Yes.
I'm actually when we get done with this, I'm gonna look this game up. So I'm actually writing it down right now.
It
Yeah.
like low-key sounds like some paranormal investigators like got hired to write the plot for that game.
Right.
It's like you just travel around and try to take photos of ghosts, and it's like cool video game.
All right.
Yeah. I mean, like the funny thing is that I started playing a game because I was really into photography at the time, and I was like, that's cool. It's a photography game. You just take pictures of ghosts, but it's like really creepy. It's not like PG-13.
Oh wow. Yeah, I'm gonna have to look that up. Before I get to you, Gil, I want to make sure I'm not tripping out. Am I hearing like some kind of scratching or something?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
hear
hear
that
it
too.
too.
I
I
don't
don't know
hear
what
it.
it's coming from.
Is it me? Oh wait, hold on. Is that it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my
What are you
god, I'm so
doing?
sorry. I have a notepad and I was literally just going like this.
That's you.
I'm gonna
I'm
set
like-
it away from me.
I'm like, okay. I was like, maybe one of their cats is scratching something. I was like, I wanna make sure
Yeah,
I'm
I was
not
like, the
tripping out.
cats. Yeah, I was like, the cats are put away. I don't know what that noise is.
Yeah.
Oh,
Sorry
Yeah,
about
that
that.
was
Thank
you
you for
guys.
catching that. My bad.
all right.
Mike,
Back to our program now. So, Gil, what about you? Have you had any personal paranormal experiences, man?
so I had one in my early 20s that managed to get through my kind of like stubborn blockheadedness. And it took like a week of paranormal, high strangeness kind of events to really get into my skin and get past. I always call myself like I'm agnostic on a good day. Like most of the time I'm atheist, and it really took a solid week of just too many coincidences lining up for my stubborn self to kind of be like, all right, something's happening here. But I guess before that, it's kind of got me thinking. So I haven't told the story to a lot of folks, maybe a handful of people total in my life. The first paranormal experience I had, so also grew up in an old house. It was like out in the country. I lived out on a small farm until I was about 12, and then I moved kind of to a neighborhood around the city up in Toledo, Ohio. Mm-hmm. And when I was in kindergarten, I don't know if y'all's schools did this, but you would have school every other day, right? Like going to school. No,
every day.
Every day.
Sweet. Well, so I had a cool kindergarten. Apparently, I didn't know. So we had like the rabbits and the bears. I was a rabbit. And like rabbits went on one day, bears went on the other day, and then I think on Friday both classes came together. If I remember, it's been a number of years.
Bears eat the rabbits?
No, well, you don't put them in the same room at the same time. That's the trick. Yeah. So I have a pretty vivid memory from when I was must have been about 4.5, 5.5 years old. I was in kindergarten. I remember it was the springtime, and my dad was building me a treehouse, right? And so I was like helping my dad out in the yard build a treehouse, and he asked me, he's like, "Hey, hey, would you go inside and grab my glasses for me?" Right? He's sawing lumber and stuff. I'm like, "Yeah." And so I step up, and this is maybe 9 in the morning, 9:30 in the morning or whatever. Step up on the porch, and so I got to understand a little bit of the layout of the house. Large living room, right? When you step in the porch from the back door, and on the right, there was a doorway and a laundry room, right? Laundry room had no other doorways or anything like that. It was just kind of like hooked up over on the side. It was about the size of like a $10,000 apartment in New York. So, it was, you could fit a king size mattress and a refrigerator in there. It wasn't the tiniest laundry room, but it's New York size, 10,000 a month. Right. Anyways, I opened the door, and to the far left side of the room, and this is the middle of the fucking day, there's this large figure standing there with a black robe on, and it's just kind of like hovering over the ground, has a hood on, and I can't see its face. And I'm literally too young at this point to even know what the hell's going on, Right. And so I look at it, and I can tell, from the hood and stuff, like it's looking straight towards me. And it starts moving across the room and literally moves maybe 4 feet in front of me. And it's just gliding and goes into the laundry room. And I'm just confused, right? Like, I'm just country boy, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not like freaked out or anything. Like, I've seen my dad blow, raccoon's head off, da-da-da-da-da. Like, I've done a bunch of farming shit and stuff. It's like, I'm not super shocked. I'm just like, kind of like, what is this? What's going on? This makes as much sense as the rest of the world. And so I look into the laundry room and turn on the light, and there's nothing in there. And again, there's no way out of this laundry room besides that doorway, which was right next to me when I walked up those steps. I remember I have a distinct memory of like opening up the dryer and the washer lid, looking inside and being like, what the heck? And there was literally nowhere else. And I was like, okay, so I'm just a little confused. And I leave the laundry room. I step up, it's like 2 or 3 steps. And then there's kind of kind of a half wall with like a table separating the living room and the dining room, right? So when you step up those steps out of the living room and you turn left, you can still, it's like an open floor plan. You can still see the whole living room. Go up to the fan hutch, grab my dad's glasses, turn around and look left, and sure enough, standing at the bottom of the steps is that same large black figure, just outside of the laundry room, looking at me. Well, I can't see its face, but I'm assuming it's looking at me. And I just kind of freeze, and it just slowly kind of like backs up and goes to the laundry room. So it gets I looked in the laundry room again, and then like at this point, I'm like, my dad's probably upset because he's like, where the hell's my glasses? And so, go outside and give my dad the glasses, and I don't say anything to anybody about that. I think I just like immediately hopped back into like helping my dad with like lumber and cutting and shit, and or as much as you can when you're 4 or 5. A couple of years later, my mom finally tells me a story about how she couldn't sleep one night. She got up and she had a bad feeling. And my mom's definitely more on the spiritual side of things. She had a bad feeling, opened up my room, and there was a large black figure with a robe on, like hovering above my bed. And she immediately like turned on the lights and started like saying, whatever prayer or something like that she kind of had like, put in the barrel and ready to go in that situation. But yeah, that's my earliest experience. Next one is about 45 minutes long, so I'm gonna spare that. But that was my earliest, and I think I only really give it credit just because it got corroborated like later with stuff that my mom said. And honestly, unless she listens to this podcast, I've never even told her about the first story or situation. So like, yeah, pretty sure I saw death. That's what I'm trying to say.
It sounds like the Reaper was hanging out with you, man.
Yeah, but we do not fear the Reaper. And however the rest of the song goes, I forget.
Being that young and you staying that calm, I think I would have shit my pants.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I don't know. I was just more so just like, who are you? Like I was just kind of like, I'm just kind of like, hi. Like I've never been one to really like freeze up in tense situations. I always catch all the adrenaline and the freak out like afterwards. Right. Then I'm a total wreck for hours afterwards. But during the time, I'm calm, cool, collected. But like this, after that, I'm just like, how many cigarettes can I fit in my mouth? I'm just like, but yeah. Man.
So now I'm going to jump into this. Have any of you ever actually done a paranormal investigation or just been involved in one with like a friend or something?
Yeah, I mean, not a professional one, but with friends going into like houses that we heard that were haunted or something. And this is when I lived in Washington State, which there's a lot of those over there. But we never saw anything. It was just like scary because it was in the middle of the night and it was just us.
I've never done a paranormal investigation, but I would like to. I think it would be super like fun and exciting. It would be scary for sure, but it would be exciting.
I tell you what, if something does happen, that adrenaline keeps you going the rest of the night. Whether you see something walk across the hallway or something get knocked off the wall or hear somebody screaming, that should keep you going the rest of the night. You're not going to want to run. You're going to want to continue like, hey, what is going on? Like last night, like you said earlier, no spoilers, but we was seeing some shit that we couldn't figure out where it was coming from. And it was some weird stuff. And my wife, she doesn't normally she'll get kind of spooked a little bit during investigations, but she won't. Like last night, she was like hugging up to him, and she's like, "We need to get out of this room." She's like, "I'm freaking the fuck out."
Oh,
and so, so it's just one of those things, man. Gil, what about you? You ever been on an investigation with anybody?
Never been on one. I am working actively on Amazon wish list. I've got about 19 GoPros, which I plan to wear if I do go on one.
Right.
I'm just gonna be walking around looking like a BlackBerry, just like cameras everywhere, just like,
Right.
aha, y'all motherfuckers gonna believe this shit. But can't fake this many angles. But no, same sentiment as Selena, where it's just like, I know I'm gonna have the shit scared out of me, but like I know that the experience is worth it, and the ratio of people that go on investigations and people that die from the investigations is so low that I feel comfortable going.
Right.
like I'm more likely to be injured driving to the grocery store. So it's like, hey, if I put myself in that situation, I'm gonna live through it probably, and I'll have a hell of a story afterwards. So I'm like, I'm so down.
I will give you all one piece of advice: be patient with it, because so many of these different TV shows and YouTube channels portray this shit as it's popping off all the time, and it doesn't happen that way. So like last night, we was at the location last night for 7 hours, and so during that 7 hours, we may not have heard a thing the entire night. But when you start reviewing evidence, which is the most dreaded part of any investigation because it takes so long, you could capture an EVP like the one I shared with you guys that I didn't even know we captured until we were reviewing stuff, and that 1 2-second clip can make the entire night worth it. And so, patience is key to being a paranormal investigator.
So bring Monopoly. and post up, be like, we're playing Monopoly tonight,
Right.
fellas.
Right.
But that clip though, like, that's not my name. Like that clip, straight up, that is the clearest EVP I've ever heard. Like, I feel like anytime I'm like, listening to a recording of an EVP or something like that, I'm always just like, volume up all the way. I'm like closing my eyes so I can hear better. I'm like sitting here, I'm trying to figure out what the heck happened. I'm expecting 16 replays before I can hear it, and then captions to show up at the bottom. And this is just like, no, that if I didn't know your voice and I hadn't heard the voice of like the other investigators and stuff that part of RKB, like I would have thought it was somebody in the room,
Right.
like just straight up, like it was so like, that's not my name, and it's like, whoever it is, I don't know, they're very articulate. That's all I'm gonna say.
And like you said,
I feel like most ghosts must die when they're drunk.
Right, and
Go ahead,
like
Sam.
you said, it's so clear that when I first heard it, I knew exactly what it said, and I was
Yeah.
like, holy shit! I was like, that's insane. So
So good.
we'll dive into y'all's neck of the woods for a second.
Yeah.
Has any of y'all ever seen a Bigfoot, or what you think would be a Bigfoot?
I want
No.
to. I want to. We went
I
on a
get scared
camping
every
trip.
time I go camping, though.
I got her basically one of those, like, it almost looks like a halogen line on the front of a car for like a headlamp. So like you could take down an airplane with that thing basically. But so we're good there. Just need to get 2 more just full spotlights. But we do I guess shout out to the Bigfoot Mapping Project. I literally referenced that for Selena and I's and like 2 of our friends' recent camping trip a few weeks back. But it's just a live map with pins and everything like that of like basically within the past like 24 hours, 7 days, back to like years worth of like pins and a GPS like all around the country. So you can, if you're going camping in a national park or forest or whatever, you can look it up and be like, when was the last Bigfoot sighting, and like plan your camping trip around that.
Right.
And it's like,
I
so I'm
remember
trying.
I remember you sending me that, and I checked it out, and I was like, holy shit! I was like, Tennessee, it was like completely covered. I was like, that's insane.
Yeah, you can't open your door without hitting one, basically.
Right?
Yeah.
All right, so aliens. Have any of you guys ever experienced any kind of alien activity that you couldn't really explain flying through the air?
No,
No?
sadly. I mean, my
That's
dad
a
has.
You've
What?
seen a UFO
You-
with Gil and Joey and Carolyn.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
we still don't know what that was.
If you don't know
That's
what it
the
was,
point.
that's a UFO. It's an
That's
unidentified
the
flying object.
point.
I guess. I mean, yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna jump in here with a little bit of backstory that makes the situation where Betsabe, Joey, two of our friends, one of them who's active in the Air Force and just got back from deployment. We all saw it on New Year's Eve around 6 o'clock in 2020, right? And it was like, to me, that was the most perfect like way to end 2020. It was literally, it's like 6 o'clock. You know, I've like my first beer in my hand. Betsabe is up on the porch, like talking to our friend about like a UFO documentary that we saw that we really loved. I step off the porch to smoke a cigarette, and I'm facing them, and up past their house to the side, just a blood red light appears way the hell up in the sky, and it was a little bit smaller. Picture like a stoplight,
Mm-hmm.
but like thousands of feet up in the sky. So like whatever
Like the
it was
ones behind you.
massive.
Oh, okay.
Behind
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah. It was like that, like no glare, no fractal or anything, just a red, like blood red dot that just appears. And it's unquestionably there. It's not like kind of faded, like, oh, you got to see it. It's like, no, the second I was like, I yelled, I was like, what the fuck is that? And I pointed, and everybody walked around the edge of the porch and looked up, and, you know, everybody saw it immediately. They're like, that's not normal. And it was there, and, you know, it was Betsabe's professional videographer. Joey does videography and photography. Our two other friends that were there do photography. All of us were just frozen up, and we're just like, what the hell is it? Nobody pulled out their phones. Nobody took a photo, right? Which like gives me a little bit of...
I did
You took
remember
a
no, but you see, because I have this app that tells you like what the stars are or if it's a planet. So I took it out to see if it was maybe a planet, and it didn't register anything.
Yeah, there was... So we had nothing up there. And again, this is like, you know, maybe 40 minutes before the sun goes down. It wasn't even twilight yet, right? So it's like, it was bright. And we're all staring at it, and, you know, what the fuck is that? And our friend there, who's, you know, active or just got back from deployment, was just like, I literally don't know what that is right now. And it was there for about 25, 30 seconds, and then it just boop, like went out. And everybody's just like, oh, wow, it was crazy, you know, And they all went back to their seats. I'm still smoking my cigarette. And then the motherfucker turns back on again in the same spot. And I'm like, it's back. And then they all run over to the side, and we all just stare at it. And it just kind of like, when I say flicker, it looks like somebody like turns a light switch on and off. It didn't look like it was fading, or it didn't give the appearance of like a cloud passing in front of it. Right. And this is the same sky that like all of us, in our small neighborhood, like, anytime we're walking out of our house, anytime we're hanging outside in the evening, that's the more or less like the direction we're looking 20 times a day. Like we know that spot in the sky. And it went out. Well, to give credibility, Betsabe, to this, I dug into, and this is when we were first doing research to figure out, you know, what the heck we were going to cover on our podcast. I started digging into historical reports specifically for our neighborhood and our area here in Asheville, North Carolina. There is a history going back about 35 years of the exact same thing appearing in the sky. Like there's reports from the 90s, the late 90s, of like multiple people pulling into a grocery store parking lot, which is down the street from our house, cops pulling in, everybody just getting out of their cars and stopping and looking at it. So, and then like on the flip side, if you go 20 miles away to the west of us, right? So this is in the eastern sky-ish. If you go to the west of, or sorry, this is in the western sky. If you go far enough west, those folks looking east also have reports of it. So it is centralized within about 40 miles west of Asheville. Something keeps appearing in the sky over there. But yeah.
And if anybody that seen it that night would have known what it was. Your friend in the Air Force should have known what it was. And if he couldn't figure it out, that's a little weird, man.
90% of the stuff he does in the Air Force, he's not allowed to talk about. So I'm assuming if it freaked him out, it was probably legit,
Oh, man. All right. Well, switching gears back to the paranormal side.
Yeah.
This is to all three of you. What would you do if you actually seen a full-blown, full-body apparition just, say, walk across your living room?
I have.
You have? Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I've actually seen shadow people at that house in San Fernando.
Oh, man.
And I had a witness, and I actually had to chase after them because they started running after it. Like, we were sitting at in the dining room facing the living room, and then that hallway that I was talking about is on the right. But from the dining room, you can see straight into my room from the hallway. So we were sitting, eating pizza, and then I just noticed a black, it looked like a black puddle on the floor in my doorway. And I was like, what? And then all of a sudden, a shape comes out of it, and it's just this full-bodied shadow person. And it looked weird. It looked like it was trying to figure out where it was. It got up, and then it went like that, and then it just started walking towards my mom's room, through my bedroom. And then I turned and I looked at the person I was with, and he was like, "Oh my God, did you see that?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "What is that thing?" And he's like, "I'm gonna get it." And I was like, "No, no." So he starts chasing it, and I'm running after him, trying to grab him by the collar, and he just stops in front of me, and we're I stop behind him, and we just look into my mom's room, and the thing looks like it's oh shit, looking side to side, and then it just walks through the back door outside. Yeah, and then he's like, "I'm gonna go outside," and I was like, "No, you're not. We're done now."
We're done now.
We're done.
But yeah, I've seen stuff like that in my house.
That's pretty
And
insane.
There's a little boy in that hallway too, that I used to hear soft running in the hallway before. And I was actually at that house with my uncle who grew up in that house. And we were playing some game on the computer, but I kept looking over at the hallway because I kept seeing that little boy running by it. And it's some little boy that looks like he was from the 70s or so. He had brown pants, a striped shirt, and brown hair that was kind of in a bowl cut. And he was just running from one side of the hallway to the other. And my uncle was like, "Do you see him too?" And I was like, "Are you talking about the little boy?" And he's like, "I used to see him all the time when I was growing up here." And I was like, "Oh,
Fuck that."
It made me feel better because I thought I was going crazy.
Right.
But to have somebody be like, "Oh no, yeah, I used to see that little boy all the time." And I also had another thing corroborated by someone else. I was at my cousin's house, and they were in San Diego. And I was there for her birthday party. She got one of those walking robotic dogs, and the parents were like, "This was expensive. We're gonna go play with it right now." So they wanted us to go take it for a walk, but we got bored and we ran back to her house. And her house is kind of laid out weird. You walk in, there's a giant staircase on the left, and then on the right there's kind of an open hallway open up to the living room that's on the right. And through the living room, if you're facing the stairs, there's a cutout underneath the stairs that leads to a bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
And that bedroom had double mirror sliding doors. So you could effectively you could see yourself if you were standing at a certain part of the living room. But we were dancing around and doing whatever, because I was probably 7 years old. We were just goofing off and picking up my baby cousin and spinning him around and stuff, trying to make him laugh. And yeah, so she was spinning him, and I was just, she was spinning him, and I was spinning on my own. And then something caught my eye in the bedroom, so I stopped and I just started staring because there was a woman there that I didn't recognize. and she was looking at me through the mirror, and she starts brushing her hair, and I was like, what the hell? Who is that? And she's like brushing her hair, then her hair starts coming off.
Ew.
And like her face starts to kind of like go, like melting off.
It's too
Like
much.
she was burned. Like she started to look like she was being burned.
Place is
And
messed up.
she just kept brushing her hair, and like it was coming out in chunks. And my cousin, like shoved me because I just froze. And like she was like, "Are you okay? What's going on? What are you doing?" And I was like, I didn't know what to say. I was like 7, so I was like, are there ghosts in San Diego?"
Yeah.
And like she was like, "What?" And she's like, "Here, go sit with my dad, and like I'm gonna go get mom." And I was like, "Okay." So I sat with my
Ghosts
in
uncle,
San
and
Diego.
I told him what happened, and he just started laughing. So I was like, "Oh, okay, he doesn't believe me." But then that night we were sleeping, and I'm always like I was so attached to my mom when I was younger. So
Mhm.
like I was like falling asleep, but they were all up gossiping and stuff, and they thought I was asleep. So my aunt was like, "I'm so pissed at like her husband, like my cousin's dad." She's like, "I can't believe he told her the thing that he sees. Like, why would he tell her about the thing that he sees in the bedroom? Like, she's too young to know about it. No wonder she's so scared." And I was like, "Huh?" Like, he didn't tell me anything. He
Right.
laughed at me.
Oh goodness.
Did not to steal the interview, but to kind of steal the interview for a second. Did your grandparents visit recently before the situation?
Right.
Okay.
No.
Just checking. Checking a hypothesis here.
I think you lived in an American Horror Story for a whole minute.
I know.
Yeah.
My family considers me to be sensitive to that stuff since I
Right.
have seen stuff, and like I can normally like feel if there's like weird vibes and stuff, and yeah.
Oh man.
So like my aunt, when I visited here for the first time, she made me go to her house, and she's like, "Do you feel anything weird?" And I'm like, "No, your house is fine."
Oh goodness. Now, what about you other two? What would you do if you seen an apparition like that, or anything that she's seen? How would you react to that?
I like if it was at my house, I would definitely pack my stuff and leave. Be like, okay, I'm done. Yeah, that's one thing I never understood, like when watching movies or shows or whatever, and people stay at their house and it just keeps getting worse. And I'm just like, why are you still there? Just
Right.
leave, you know? So, but if it was like somewhere else, I don't know. I mean, I would definitely be very curious, and like Selena's friend, I would be like, I want to go chase it and
Right.
ask questions maybe. I would be very curious. But
Right.
yeah, if it's my house, I'm done. I'm leaving because I know how this story goes. It'll just get worse. So no, thank you.
All right. G, what about you?
I short answer, it depends what I was doing when I saw it, because it was like, did you just catch me doing something? Like, what was I doing? Was I using the restroom? Was I going number 2? You know what I'm saying? Like, that might be like, haha, you can't scare the shit out of me. I've already pooped. It really depends. But if it was somewhere that I frequented on a regular basis, unless I got very strong, overwhelming vibes that like no good, no bueno, like just like yeah, no, we're never gonna be friends, I think I would hit up some specific members of my family and I would ask advice about making peace with it. Honestly, that would be my move, because like I'm gonna be honest, I don't feel like humans have a lot of business being on Earth, so like I'm not really gonna be questioning why a ghost should be here. As much as I love people, don't have a high regard for humans as a whole. I'm just kind of like, we're kind of messing a lot of things up. But yeah, I guess, if it was on an investigation or something, it'd be totally different and be like expected in a sense, or like the adrenaline would be built up to it. But All that said, I'd probably still just poop myself. I don't really. That would be it. Yeah, I'd poop myself and then just literally not tell anyone.
He saw something. He saw something when we went to a hotel. It was haunted. The hotel that we stayed at, they told us it was haunted, or we looked it up and it was haunted. And
Oh,
he
the
saw
one in
something.
Charlotte.
Yeah, he saw something while I was asleep.
I forget. I was trying to think
you
of
said
that.
it was like you said it looked like just like a thing of smoke passing through the room.
Mm.
Yeah,
He thought I
at
was
the end-
vaping.
at the end of she vapes in her sleep, so like I'll never know if there's an apparition in the room.
I didn't vape that time.
She's like, this ghost smells like blueberries. Woke up, just kind of like that semi-dim light in the corner of like an old. It was a very old hotel. It was like 100. I think they had celebrated their centennial like a couple of years before we stayed there, and I brought it up on the way to the hotel to Selena. I was like, we should totally look up to see if this hotel's haunted. We were already driving to go stay at the hotel and like do some stuff. And she's like, no, that's not funny. That's not cool. I was like, all right. I'll wait until the morning for, and then I'll look it up. We were only staying there one night. It was just kind of like a smoky kind of vapor, not full body, not full blown, but it was like if a small patch of fog appeared in your room in like a 2 by 4.5, 5 foot tall area, just like right at the end of the bed. But
That's
I don't know. I was like coming out of sleep, so maybe not. Maybe it was vape smoke in my eyes. I don't know.
Coming out of my feet at the foot of the bed.
You vape a lot. I don't know. Maybe I don't know how
but I
vaping
can't-
works.
I can't-
don't know.
I can't make the smoke come out of somewhere else.
oh, good man. Oh. So, what's one haunted location each one of you would just like love to visit? Whether not for an investigation, just to actually go to say you've been there before.
I don't have an answer to the caveat. I have an answer to the first part, to the what's one location I'd like to go to.
Mhm.
I don't know if there's any locations I could think of where I'd be like, cool, I got bragging rights,
Right.
There's a house, and I had hit you up about this like months ago at this point. There's a house that I've found through some government documents online. It's in Tennyson, Indiana. And I've been reading through reports, and it's a very vague investigation, but it came through leaked and released, kind of a mixture of both, like government documents where there was an active government-funded investigation into a house in a town that I think has a population of like 600. Very small. I'm pretty sure. I just kind of want to take a road trip up there because I'm like, I could probably find it if the town's that small,
Right.
But it sounds absolutely wild, and I think what gives it, like, I'm chasing the real side of it. I don't want to chase the notoriety. It's the fact that the government like didn't want some of this stuff to get leaked, and
Right.
it did get leaked, and the fact that there's some corroborating things around the edges with it in terms of like research, and that nobody has hyped it up. That's what makes me want to go there, is because I'm like, there is no reputation to chase down here. There's no anticipation other than just like, I've come across shit that I wasn't legally supposed to come across, and I'm reading through it. Yeah,
Right.
it's on the internet, but I'm reading through it, and I'm just like, I want to find this fucking house. So if anybody knows of a supposedly haunted house in Tennyson, Indiana, hit me up, please, because I will take a
cool.
trip there. It's about 6-7 hours from where my parents live, so
There
yeah.
you go. Selena, what about you?
I
Shit,
don't
can I take that
know.
back? Skinwalker Ranch. Sorry. Go on.
Yeah.
Damn it! Damn it! Damn it! Sorry, Selena. Go.
Skinwalker Ranch would probably be the best place to go.
Damn it!
I think so much would happen, I think.
Right. That place does seem pretty wild. So.
There's old, like, I was listening to, probably, I think it was last podcast, but like, the part where the man let his dogs go after the orb
Mm-hmm.
and they got like literally like exploded.
Yeah.
Like
Whoa.
he was like, this orb has been bothering me and I'm gonna let my dogs go and handle it. Go on, boys, go get it. And they chase it and he notices that the thing looks like it's playing with his dogs and it's like bouncing up and down and they're trying to grab it and pull it out of the air. And they end up going behind these trees, following it. It lures them behind these trees, and then he just hears 3 sharp yelps, and it's dark at night. So he's like, I'm not gonna go. I'm gonna check in the morning. He waited for like an hour or two for his dogs to come back, and they didn't. And then he went back inside. In the morning, when he went, all he could find were 3 puddles of like black ooze.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah. There's so
Wow.
much crazy stuff that happens there. I would love to go.
Right.
And there's like poltergeist activity, there's like alien activity, there's
Everything.
everything. It's like
The
a
inspiration behind our
wonderland.
podcast. Everything but serial killers, basically.
Right. And back to the podcast. So like what's your guys' goal for the podcast? Do you have a goal in mind, or are you just kind of doing it just more or less for fun, or is there a big plan behind it?
I think it's for fun, but we are trying to take it a little bit seriously. Like we do try to do like in-depth research and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think the research that Gil does, it makes it like very takes it to another level because the time and effort that he puts into researching everything, it's honestly very
Mhm.
inspiring.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I just show up and talk.
Now,
Thank you.
so what would you guys do if
But-
say a big company approached you and said, "We want to take you guys like mainstream, but we just want to have you everywhere." What
Yes.
would your
Oh, thank God. Oh,
Yeah.
thank God. Oh, yeah.
I'd say, where's the check?
I know,
Reaper
show me
took my
the
soul when I
money.
was 4, bro. This check is gonna bounce. Here you go. Take my soul.
Oh, goodness.
I'm so here. Betsy,
Yes.
where would you go that's haunted? I just wanted to cover.
Oh.
That was such a good question, Damien. I
Oh,
wanted to hear
I-
Betsy's
oh,
answer. I'm sorry. You're good. You're good.
I think when she walked away for a second, so I think I forgot to ask her about it.
She
Yeah.
became a full-blown apparition and disappeared.
I had to feed Bonbon. Obviously, he comes first. No, I mean, like I've always been very curious about the town where the Mothman prophecy thingy happened in Virginia.
Point Pleasant.
Point Pleasant.
So I feel like that's like it's always been like the one thing I wanted to go check out since forever. So I feel like definitely that place.
Right.
Damien, you're coming. We're taking a pod trip.
It would be interesting. That's for sure. Now, have you guys ever considered trying to do like a live podcast, like a live episode?
No, but we should.
I want to.
Yeah.
If you figure out
pretty-
how to do that, let me know because I've wanted to do it as well, but I have no clue how to do it.
Yeah, I don't
Hey,
either.
I've got it mostly figured out. I haven't actually like run a test on it yet. I've got it mostly nailed down. And I'm glad Joey's not here and he might not hear this because Joey's basically the only reason why we haven't done that. Our producer, our incredible producer who makes me not sound like a blabbering idiot when I, when we record a show, he somehow takes all my jumble and makes it something better than mumble. That guy, he's like, live sounds terrible. No, we would have to do this. And I'm like, no, it'll be fun. We just won't have to produce. And he's like, not produce. And I'm like, but I really, really want to. Yes, 100% down.
I've thought about it too, and I've actually got a good friend of mine. He does a podcast, and he's done a few live episodes, and he says it's fairly easy. And I'm like, well, I was like, let me know how the hell you do that. So
Yeah.
I like
Yeah,
easy.
let's do it.
so back to investigating. What are your guys' thoughts on provoking?
Oh, I don't think that's a good idea. I think
It
you have
depends.
to be polite, I think, because you don't know what's there.
Hmm.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
treat
like
ghosts like people. Sorry.
I don't know, like just like with my experiences that I've had, it usually will. Eh, I guess to investigate, you might want to, but like in my thing, I was like, I'm gonna ignore all of this because I don't want it to keep happening. So like I just learned to be like, okay, like kind of coexist with the ghosts. Don't try to like piss them off and
Hmm.
like stuff like that. Like weird things would happen in my house when my mom and I would fight, like doors would slam and stuff like that. It was like a poltergeist at a certain point, and like yeah, I would like yell like, "Fine, I'll go say sorry," and then like the little dangly things from the ceiling fan would be like going crazy, and I'd just be like, "Fine, I'll go say sorry," and then it would stop.
Jesus.
And I'm like, it was so weird, but like that's why I kind of like learned to be more like chill with the ghosts and be like,
Right.
okay, you're here, I'm here too.
Hmm.
I go, let's make it work.
Right.
I guess
But
it
I don't
depends.
know.
I mean, it depends on the results that you want from it. So
Yeah.
if, I mean, I will be down to do that because of research.
Right.
But yeah, it really, really depends.
Would you provoke a ghost, Betsabe?
If I was really bored, yes. And if I knew I wasn't gonna go back to that place, yes. Maybe if it was in another country, but then it could totally follow me. So again, it really depends.
Yeah.
So we can say
So we're all gonna go to our ex's house tonight, and we're all going to promote ghosts and then just dip the fuck out.
Yes.
Try proving that in court.
I like the way you think.
I would I want to treat ghosts the way I treat people, the way I treat folks, and some folks deserve provoking. But most folks don't, 99.99%, but there's a small fraction, and you know what, you're an asshole, and you're the ghost of an asshole. I'm gonna provoke you. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like if it, pick a historical figure that was a d-bag. If it's the ghost of them that I'm provoking, like, yeah, dude, whatever. You were a jerk. Like
Ghost of Ronald Reagan.
ghost of Reagan. Trickle down. No, wait, that was Nixon. Wait, no, that was Reagan. Yeah, trickle down. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it fucks with some ghosts. It just depends who. If it was like some sweet old lady that was like waiting out on like, Widow's Watch or Widow's Peak, like kind of like sitting there looking for it, I'm not gonna, shoot airsoft guns at her or anything. But yeah, it depends. It depends.
Oh, man.
What do you say? Is it good or bad to provoke a spirit?
We don't provoke simply for the fact, for one, we find it disrespectful because you really don't know who you're interacting with. And like you said, it could be a little old lady there doing some of this stuff.
Yeah.
And you go in there and start cussing them and all this other stuff. You don't want to do that. So that's one reason we don't. And two, you risk an attachment. You risk something happening to you if you go in there and really piss it off. And so we just try not to take that risk. And we do kind of push a little bit, kind of motivate them more or less. When stuff will be kind of happening, but it's not enough to really get us excited. We'll be like, okay, we know you can do this, but we know you can do better. Show us what you can really do. And that's what happened whenever, that picture went flying off the wall. It was doing all this kind of petty stuff throughout the night, getting our attention, but it was nothing like to really get us, hyped up. And then when that happened, like I said, in that room, little things was happening, and Josh was like, you've been doing all this shit all night. He's like, we need you to show us that you're really here and what you can really do. And they did. So like G said, treat them just like you'd be treating if they were still alive. So
That makes sense.
so
But if it's Napoleon's ghost, I'm gonna be a dick. So walking around with a yardstick, holding it around, like, I can't see you. You're too short. Just like, whoosh. But yeah.
So if guys wanted to, if somebody wanted to look you guys up online, how can they find you guys?
You.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. So if you want to find our podcast, it's available everywhere that podcasts are found. And if not, hit us up with the second way to get a hold of us. So it's just Black Cat Report. That's all. You just got to type that in. There's a photo of the four of us looking out through our studio door with the logo right on the side. Pretty simple to find. Social media, everything is Black Cat Report. Pretty straightforward to find us there. It's either got underscores, spaces, whatever the account offers. We're most active on Instagram. All four of us have access and get on to the Instagram for Black Cat Report. There's like a pretty darn good chance that if you ever want to message us, reach out with like show ideas or whatever comments, hater mail, whatever, message us on there. Probably going to get back to you within 2 hours because between all of our messed up sleep schedules, somebody's always online. But yeah, other than that, hit us up on our website to look for the shows, which you can play there, which is just blackcat.report. And that's not .com, not .net, not .org. It's .report.
Right.
And if I did my job as a marketer, you can also Google it. So,
All right. So Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. You guys got MySpace?
Oh, I wish.
we have a working theory about
Oh,
Tom may have been abducted. We're working on that.
Right.
But but yes,
it just kind of disappeared. You know.
our first friend on MySpace kind of looks like a wanted poster when you look at it in that light of him missing. You're like, oh shit, this kind of looks like a poster that should be hanging up at the entrance of Walmart right now. I'm just like, oh Tom, no. No.
That's true.
So what's the future look like for you guys? You got any conventions lined up you want to attend, or you just going to keep doing your thing with the show? What's going on with you guys?
Well, Selena and I, just because of schedule season with everybody's jobs, Selena and I are really, really, really trying to make it out to the convention that you invited us to, the paranormal convention. I think it's something in Pause, if that's right.
Phantom Pause and Historic Cause.
Phantom Pause and Historic Cause, which is right up our alley because proceeds from it go to help animals and little baby pets and everything. So hell yeah. It's just both making some major job moves that we're trying to get it to work out. It's going to be down to the wire.
Right.
Other than that, I mean, we're definitely gearing up. Like anybody in the Western North Carolina area over the next year that wants to have a paranormal investigation out in our neck of the woods, wants to go Bigfoot hunting, wants to go try to, I don't know, hunt down a Wendigo. I don't know. Anybody doing anything, hit us up. I mean, we got Report in our name, and we've always kind of like, while we're building up the show, I think we've always like had it in mind that like we want to put boots on the ground. We want to go do stuff,
right?
Other than that, we just want to keep providing awesome content on paranormal stuff every Sunday, mostly around things that folks, even if they're interested in paranormal things and UFOs and cryptids and stuff, probably haven't like heard of. We want to kind of cover the stuff that's a little bit on the fringe of the fringe,
right?
And like serial killers that most of their stuff hasn't been translated into English, or cryptids that just kind of are like buried on Reddit but have like a massive following of folks with like all these experiences and stuff. Or I kind of want to take you past 10 o'clock at night on History Channel. We want to go one step, one class behind, or like past that.
Right.
We're not going to cover Roswell, but we're going to cover a little known event more important than Roswell, like things like that.
I got you. Well, I really enjoyed having you guys on. Y'all were really a fun interview. So everybody,
Thank you.
So everybody go check them out. Like I said, they're on all the different streaming formats. See, I knew I'd fuck up at some point. So go give them a listen. your favorite paranormal team. They're one of the very first episodes. Wink, wink, nudge,
Yep.
nudge.
Our first interview.
Yes.
That's right. I did remember you guys telling us that. So go give them a listen. Follow them on social media. Unfortunately, they're not on MySpace yet, but so yeah, I want to thank each and every one of you, Selena, Gil, and I'm going to attempt it, Betsy.
It's a
Yes.
I was close. So
It was so close.
all right, I want to thank each one of you guys for coming on, and we'll chat with you guys next time.
Thank you so much for having us, man.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.